Hey and welcome, I'm Solo and this is Zian Gaming. In this video I'll be going over how to get a budget streaming PC cheap, but the catch is, it's still good. Before I waste any more time, let's jump into it. In this video, I wanted to show how you could have a second PC or have another setup for streaming at like a reasonable price, and I mean like not super cheap, but not over expensive. I feel like many assume you need to have as good of a PC for gaming as you're gonna need for streaming, but that's just not how it works. You can stream on pretty much a toaster, but you can't really game on one. Most times the PC you can't really stream on, so just an old one you have kicking around. It might not be able to stream and game at the same time, but even if it can't game, at pretty much anything with a half decent frame rate, as long as it can view 1920 by 1080, anything that can view that video will also be able to probably encode it without stuttering. If you have something like that, then that's probably going to be all that you need, and it'll be perfectly usable for a streaming PC. This opens up a lot of options for a second-hand or cheap PC. So in this here example, I'm going to go over a couple of very cheap, and I would definitely have to argue it would probably be the cheapest way to have a second PC set up for streaming. But this is going to be the absolute dirt cheap, so it's definitely not going to be very good for like the long run. So if you want to use this here for a very long time, or if you want to future proof it, it's not going to be very future proof, but it's definitely going to be the right price. I set up a goal to make a full streaming PC. I wanted to make it for the price of a mid-range GPU. So this is going to be something like maybe a 3060 or a 4060 range in price. So that's going to be a full setup streaming PC for less than $500. So this was the goal, is to absolutely make a whole entire another PC for streaming on with the capture card completely separate from my machine for about the price that I would have had to normally get. So I would probably say most people have like a 3060 range video card. So if you're going to update to the next video card, you'd be spending about the same amount or $700, and you're only going to gain maybe 20-30 FPS. It's not going to be a crazy big gain for you to just go up just to a 4060 per se or a 5060. The change isn't going to be that much of a difference. But if you had a second PC for maybe a little bit cheaper, possibly, this can just open up a lot more options for later on. And I thought it was very interesting. And in testing it, I actually found out that some of the options, even a cheap PC, is going to be fairly good. So I jumped over on Amazon and I searched for a cheap PC, and I settled on a Dell Optiplex 7040 Business SFS, which is a small form factor, so SFF, which has like a pretty old Intel i5 6500. So this is a really good starting ground for you. If you're out looking for a PC and you see something with an Intel i5 6500 with 16 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabyte SSD for storage, you're going to be in pretty good luck. This here actually included a Windows 10 Pro key as well. So if you're looking, this would definitely be the baseline. I would not go anything under the Intel i5 6500. Anything better than that is going to be quite a bit better. So definitely keep that in mind. This is definitely the lowest Intel CPU that I would use for streaming. It's going to struggle a little bit to do anything more than just the basic setup, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, when we were looking for the PC that would work, we had like two things that we really wanted to keep in mind. Things that we needed. Two things that we needed if setting it up for streaming PC. The PC needed to have at least one free PCIe slot. This was going to be for a capture card. And two would be best. And it needs to have at least a space for a hard drive. The 7040 Optiplex come with two extra PCI slots, which is going to be great because this will give us some options later on. So great, one slot will be needed for the capture card, and the other can be used for a cheap GPU, which will make a big difference on how much we can do in OBS. I'll cover it in a different video once I get a new video card, but for now, and the cheap capture card. For the capture card, I googled anything half-height capture card for a PCI slot. What come up was an Elgato 4K Pro for $200. So I spent $200 on an Elgato 4K Pro, but the options that did come up was actually an AverMedia card for $150 as well. So I actually suggest getting the AverMedia if you can get one cheaper for $150. This is gonna change your budget, and they're both gonna do the exact same thing, and both of them were about the same quality. I actually found them, for the price difference, exactly the same quality. I didn't get any difference of quality out of either of them. Both of them could do, for what we're doing on this here machine, we're only going to be doing 2K. We're not doing 4K in OBS. We're only going to be doing 1920 by 1080 because you can't really stream better than that on Twitch. So we don't really need to encode or actually have anything better than that. So that'll be perfectly fine for us. And I definitely highly suggest and recommend AverMedia, and definitely suggest them to check them out if you're following along with this video. So far, we have a PC that costs $150 and a capture card that cost us $200, but could go with a $150 option. So this is really good. The Elgato for $200 will be at $300 to $350 total on the budget so far. The last thing that we're going to need is a hard drive. I'm assuming you don't have an extra one, just kick it around. Most people don't. And we're going to add a 2 terabyte hard drive for an extra $50. Now that's really all you need it. You're up and going for, like, say $350 to $400 Canadian. That's not American, that's not USD, that's Canadian dollars. Now at the start I did say $500. If you wanted to add a huge improvement to your stream and recording, spending $100 on a NVIDIA P400 card will take the load off of the CPU, but it is not needed for a basic OBS setup. If you're not straining your PC any and not doing a whole bunch, like 20 different things in OBS, this will be awesome. This is just to show if you started with this and want it more in OBS, there is a little bit of room to grow. So if you happen to get to your limit and want to do a little bit more in OBS, you will be able to add a video card that's going to change it quite a bit. I am going to make a total video actually covering that, so definitely stay tuned if you want to see how much that boosts it. I should be able to post it just the next week after this here. I do have it ordered, it just didn't land, so I didn't get to have it for this video. It's going to have to be for another one. But if you're definitely wanting to check out how much more performance it added after this here, definitely stay tuned and get subscribed. But for this one here, let's just get to the testing and see what this here new cheap PC can do. First, let's see with a basic OBS setup. If you have a crazy advanced setup, like I said before, with 20 different things in it happening all at the same time, you have a whole bunch of timed alerts and just a whole bunch over the board amount of overlays and stuff animated in the background, it's going to be a little bit tough and you're not going to have it's not going to be a very good experience. If OBS is only doing the game, face cam, and just alerts, it's going to work great. So you can take a look at this here. I have replay buffer, 1500 bitrate, and I also have the stream running at 3500, and I'll just open up the settings and go through them right quick. In the output tab, we have it set to 3500 bitrate. Now this is using the quick sync because we have an Intel CPU, so if you get the exact same one, a 7040 Optiplex, it's going to have an Intel CPU, which is going to have the quick sync H.264. So we're going to use that for this here example because it's going to give us fairly good quality, and it's going to use a lot less of our CPU for the same thing. And it's going to be set to 3500 bitrate, and it's going to be set, and the target usage is TU4. And that's all we're going to need to do here, except for the 2 keyframes, and set that. And then we're going to go over here to the replay buffer and turn it on as well. We're just going to set the replay buffer to 60 seconds and click OK. Now, in the recording tab, it's going to be the same thing. We're going to go to the video encoder. It's going to be the quick sync. And down here in this one here, we're going to make it 15,000 bitrate. And we're going to go turn it down a little bit. We want the preset to be TU7 at the fastest. Now, why you want this at the fastest is because when you're at 15,000 bitrate, you really don't need to have it compressed as much. So the less bitrate you have, the higher you want that, because the more information you want to save. But at this here high of a bitrate, 15,000 bitrate, you shouldn't have any problems at all. We're just going to leave the audio stock as it comes. I think it's fine at 160 bitrate. I use 192 at max anyways. Alright, for this here short test, what we're just going to do is we're just going to push live, and we're going to click the record at the same time. Now, we can't record a very long time. As you can see, we don't have very much over there. We have the replay buffer running, and we have everything going at the same time. So you're going to be able to go and check the stream out as well. So if you're interested in what the quality is going to look like, you're going to be able to go to ZNSBot and check this here stream out. This is live right now. There's not going to be any audio on it because the mic's not connected to that computer. But as you can see, it's not going too much over the CPU usage. When it first started, it did jump up quite a bit, and it was a little bit scary at first. But as you can see, the frames per second, the average render time for frames, as long as it doesn't go over 11 milliseconds, it won't be noticeably skipping time. Now, if it does go over 11, you will be skipping time. So if you have animated borders, right now I have my fish tank instead of my face cam, but it's just a C920. It's at 1920 by 1080 incoming custom. It's not too crazy, and the game is just 1920 by 1080. So these are two things that like normal what I would normally run it at, and there's no crazy overlays. I don't have any crazy alerts or anything set up like that there, so this is just absolutely stock. And it does look like there's a little room I could probably put a border, but I would not want to put too many animated things without a video card in this here computer, because this here setup probably would not handle it. But as you can see, I'm not skipping any frames due to render lag. The initial start only had 100, but I don't see any more going negative now. Another thing to note is my bitrate was only set to 3500 in the streaming because that's all my internet can do. So if your internet's better, that's not going to affect you any. You can put it up to 6000 and stream. It's going to give you better quality, but it shouldn't affect your encoder inside of OBS at all. The last thing that we did was we set everything to 60 frames per second and made sure that we weren't doing anything like downscaling. We made sure it was 1920 by 1080. I don't suggest that if you're doing high pace and don't have a very high bit rate. Like, I should definitely be doing 720p at 3500 bit rate, but I think that's fine for the example. And this is definitely good enough quality. Like, you're recording in full quality, so if you've seen a lot of people's super clear clips and stuff and wondered how they get them, this is all they're doing, is they're just using a local clip and they're recording and streaming at the same time so that they can get quite a bit better. And for the price that this here is, it's a whole entire setup. It's a whole PC. Now, this is going to take into account, the $500 is going to take into account, like, if you needed a monitor and cords. So that's something else too. Like, I made sure to budget this at $500, but it's actually not quite that much money. You could get away with it cheaper, same as secondhand stuff, and get it quite a bit cheaper. Like, the capture card could be quite a bit cheaper. You might need to have like another monitor for use, a keyboard and mouse, just your basic things that you may end up needing, an extra HDMI cord. So I tried to allow for that as well in the budget. And there we have it. We can record at a great quality and stream at good quality without affecting your game's FPS for the price of just a mid-range GPU. Even if you spend twice as much, you're not really going to gain the quality, but only the amount of things that you can do in OBS. So that's something to keep in mind, that even if you had twice the setup, OBS really doesn't care. Like, you're only going to get so much quality out of OBS. And yes, you might be able to turn the settings up only 1 or 2 notches, hardly visible to the eye. The recordings that you do, you're not going to be able to notice a difference, even if you spend multiple hundreds of dollars. So that's just something to think about. This is just a pretty easy, cheap way to get into a 2-PC setup on a budget. If you do have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments below. I'll try my best to answer any that I see. And if you think I forgot or left something out, definitely leave it in the comments below. And if you like or found the video helpful, hit the thumbs up and get subscribed for more content. Thanks for watching. Bye!